Most small businesses have an email inbox that looks similar to this. Everything is mixed together, easy to get distracted and quite hard to prioritize. Now we can set up automated categorization and color coding using an AI to get something more like this. I would say this is definitely a step in the right direction. And we can go even one step further by something like this, where we basically have multiple inboxes within our inbox. So if you want to transform your email today, then stick around because I will show a method to set this categorization up exactly customized to your process with an automation tool called N8N, and it will only take 10 minutes. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Milan from Smoothwork. We help companies streamline and automate processes like email management and many others. So if you're interested in that, then make sure to check us out and book a free consultation on the link in the description. So now let's get to actually setting this up. In the description, you will find the link to this N8N workflow that you can duplicate and use. So we would have to click on the use for free. And if you already have an N8N account, then it will just prompt us to log in. If we don't, then I suggest getting started with the cloud version of N8N, which is what's recommended by them as well. And if you want to self-host later, you can switch quite easily, but self-hosting requires some experiment and setup. So I suggest to first try out with the trial version of N8N to evaluate if it works well for you or not. And then if you want to self-host, of course, you can at any point switch to that. So once we set up our account, then we will already have this template added to it. So actually, if we zoom in to the left of the canvas, then we can see the instructions, but I will go through them in the video as well. So first of all, we have this Google Sheet. And to actually set this up, we need to go to File and make a copy to have it on our own drive, and so that we are able to edit the categories that we have. And after that, we can really remove and add any categories based on how we want to process the emails, what are the usual ones that we're getting. So for example, if I want to add the new one, I would just go existing order questions and then into the definition, which is going to be used by the AI to find which category a new email best fits. We would write emails from existing customers about an order they have placed, such as delivery dates, etc. And from now on, we will also have this category in our organization. And then we can go to the URL bar, copy the link to this Google Sheet. And as also the note shows here, we basically have to go to the config node and just add this to the Sheets URL to make sure that it pulls from the correct Google Sheet. So this is the OpenRouter website. I can log in with a Google account or any other account. And once we have done that, we will be shown this API keys screen where we can create a new API key. For example, I can name it N8N, I can name it anything. And once I create it, it's going to show us this key that we can copy. Make sure to keep it somewhere safe and make sure to copy it now, because as it says, you will not be shown this API key again. Of course, you can always create a new one, so it's not the end of the world, but it's better to just save it somewhere. So now we can actually test our automation. I have authenticated with this email inbox with a bunch of different emails coming from different senders and different topics. And I'm just going to click on test workflow. This is going to take a couple of minutes because it's going to go through the AI agent for each of the emails. And once it has finished, we can see that it went through all the steps successfully, and we can check the inbox again. Now we can see that we have all these labels that it automatically added. It also created the labels for us that didn't exist yet. So this part is done. I should note that to run this automatically on a schedule, so regularly, we have to put it into an active status, which is in the top. So we turn this inactive into active, and we have to set up a schedule, which is the first node, this schedule triggered node. And here we can choose our interval. For example, I chose it as 1 hour, so it would run once every hour. Depends how often we want to run it, because if we're on the cloud version, then we might only fit into a larger package if we run it too often. So that depends. You can also use a cron expression, which can allow you to, for example, only run it in work hours or weekdays to save on the execution count. So yes, basically there is this cron tab guru link where you can look into cron extension, and it has cron expressions, and it has bunch of different examples that you can start with. But basically, once an hour is a reasonable default, I think. So I'm going to have this in the template. This is what's going to happen by default if we activate our workflow. So now we already have this automated labeler set up and also running on a schedule for new emails. So all we really need to do is do some tweaking on our Gmail to make everything a little bit more organized. For example, we can change the colors for the labels. So if we scroll down here, we can see all of the labels that our automation has created for us. And for example, we can turn customer complaints to orange, so we can spot them very easily. And I will do the rest of the labels. And now you can see the end result. So from now on, any new email that we get will be categorized and color coded or given color coded labels. Now, if we want to go one step further, we can also set up the multiple inboxes feature of Gmail, which is going to allow us to practically treat the different categories or sets of categories as different inboxes. I think that's actually very useful. I use that myself. So I'm going to show you. Basically, there is a settings button on the top right, and here we go down and find the multiple inboxes option. So once we click it, we can see that the UI changes slightly. So we by default have this is start and these drafts extra inboxes and the normal inbox. But if we go to the customize, then we can edit the section name and the search query for each. And after filling these in, we just need to go down and click on Save Changes. So the way how I did it, but you can use any other filters, of course, is that I make sure to include the inbox before each of them to make sure that archived emails are not showing up. And then I have added a couple of labels to each of the sections. Like for the important one, I added customer complaints as well as urgent emails. And the way how I do this is that I add this or between the labels. And yes, so after I have added this, I can go back to the inbox. And we can see that we have our nice grouped sections. And within the sections, we still have these color-coded subcategories. And we can also, if something we are not interested in, we can archive it and it's going to disappear from the sections as well as the full inbox. Finally, I want to share some possibilities for further improvement for this automation, which did not make it into this template. So one possibility is to automatically reply, for example, to customer questions or quotations. We can set an expectation of when we will actually reply. We can send a quick RSVP message, which is quite common. We can also draft replies to questions. We can use a knowledge base that is included in the prompt, and in Gmail we can auto-generate a draft then that we only need to approve if the answer is correct. So this way we can save time on answering common questions and be quicker in answering common questions. It is also possible to run immediately after we get a new email. This requires the IMAP node and trigger based on that. I did not include it in this video because it requires some extra configuration, so it's not as easy as what I showed here. But if you're interested, then please let me know in the comments and I will try to make a separate video of this kind of run. And yeah, of course, this one was only made to work with Gmail, but nothing would particularly be impossible with other providers such as Outlook. So it would be possible for the most part to replace the Gmail nodes with an Outlook node and then more or less set up the same automation. So also let me know if you're interested in that, and I will aim to make a video of an Outlook version. Well, thank you very much for watching all the way through the end of this video. I hope you have found it useful. This is a new channel, so you help us a lot if you engage with the video either by liking, commenting, and ideally subscribing if you're interested in topics similar to this. So see you in the next one, and make sure to try out the system if you're interested in organizing your inbox.